Hey guys, we wanted to come to you today and put together a little video for you answering some of the questions that we get a lot. I'm James, as you know, joined by Ariana. Here at Esprit Tech, and one of the things we're going to cover, or what we're going to cover today, is folding spinners and what you need to mount them. Ariana is going to play the part of our customer, our typical customer, the typical call that we get, and hopefully that, you know, by doing this, we can teach her how to help you guys, and we can teach you guys how to help yourselves.
So my grandpa was a huge flyer, and he left me a whole attic full of these sail planes, and I need to know how to determine the size of a spinner for each of them. So I need help figuring out how to figure out the size for my spinners. Perfect.
Well, when you guys are on the site, when you're on the site and you look at folding spinners, of course you can go to accessories, you go to the prop spinners and prop nuts, go to the folding spinners, and there's going to be a ton of stuff there, and you're going to get overwhelmed possibly. But you have to keep in mind there's only a couple things that are really key. These are a couple of spinners from BB. One is a turbo, so you're going to see that term. Turbo spinner, normal spinner. Normal is closed at the front, doesn't allow air through. The turbo is open at the front so that air flows through the spinner, through the motor, through the firewall, and into the fuselage. So, but when you see these, or when you pull up a spinner, there's going to be three measurements typically. The first measurement is going to be the larger. That's going to be the diameter of the aircraft, or the front of the aircraft diameter of the spinner that you're buying. The second, typically, if you're buying a set, is going to be the size of the collet, or the adapter that bites onto the prop shaft. So the first thing that Ariana is going to need to do is she's going to need to measure the front of the aircraft and figure out how wide it is. That can be done with a ruler like this. Let's see if she can get this. Go right underneath the motor shaft.
Looks like it's 1.5 inches.
Perfect. So what you would need to do is grab your calculator, your cell phone, or your computer, and do the math for 1.5 inches to millimeters. Now, if you're at home and you just want to do it on a calculator, you can do a quick math, do 1.5 times 25. That'll get you to the number that you're trying to get to. It's actually 25.4, I believe. Or you just type in 1.5 inches, 2 millimeters into your search browser. It'll kick you back an answer. In this case, most of the time, the typical sailplane is going to use somewhere between a 40 and a 45 millimeter spinner. So once you have that number, there's another number that you're going to need. That's the second number. That's going to be the diameter of the prop shaft. There's a couple of ways to get that. One is, if you know the motor that you put in the sailplane, you can go straight to the motor manufacturer's website, look at what the diameter of the shaft is, and use that number to order your spinner. If you can't get that information, let's say you're in Ariana's case, Grandpa gave her a bunch of sailplanes, everything's already in it except for the spinners. What she's going to need to do is measure the prop shaft. To do that, she's going to need a set of calipers, preferably digital ones. These are very inexpensive. If you're in the hobby, it's a great thing to add to your arsenal. I'm going to hand that to her and see if she can figure out how to use these all by herself to measure that prop shaft.
This is extremely intimidating. How does this work?
Actually, we'll do a quick demonstration. Typically on a sliding caliper, the wheel underneath the display will open and close the jaws. So we're going to click that to on. We're going to open it up nice and wide. We're going to close that down on the shaft, and we're going to take a look. And this particular motor has a 5 millimeter shaft. Bear with me while I demonstrate to Ariana. So perfect. So once you have that number, that's the second number you need. So what you're going to enter in is the first number, which was our 1.5 inches, which is our 40 millimeters. The next number will be that 5 millimeter, which is the size of the shaft. The last number when you're ordering, say, a BB spinner, is going to be 8 millimeter. That just describes the width at the shoulder for your typical set of folding blades. So that number isn't as critical unless you have an oddball or you're trying to build something with narrower shoulders. You're going to have to be aware of that. You're going to have to order a very specific type of spinner and a very specific type of prop. If you're in that situation, you may still need to reach out to us. Otherwise, what you'll be ordering will be an 8 millimeter shoulder, which is standard, and all of the regular spinners that we sell are gonna be 8mm. If you're ordering the BB spinners, keep in mind that all of the bits and pieces are included that you're going to need for the spinner itself. If you're ordering one of the other manufacturers that we sell, like the Aeronaut, both the white turbo spinner or the black non-turbo spinner, you're going to need to also order the yoke. So if you order, let's say this is a 45mm white turbo, you're gonna have to order a 47mm yoke. You need at least 2mm larger yoke than spinner. That gives you room for the props to fold. Now you've got your spinner for the front of the airplane. How do you determine the prop size? The only way to do that is by going to the motor manufacturer's website. Unless you happen to be replacing something on the aircraft, then you can look at the root of the blade, and typically it'll be printed there what size that prop is. But if you don't know, you're going to need a little bit of information from the manufacturer. Most manufacturers, when they create an electric motor, are going to have posted somewhere on their page or one of their retailers' pages a recommendation for a prop size for a specific motor at a specific cell count. So that is one of the things that you're going to need to know. Unless you have that information, we won't be able to help make a recommendation for the prop size for the aircraft. So from what you saw, what do you need to order from your airplane? Do you know?
I need a spinner that is a 40mm by 5 by 8.
Yes, that's exactly it. And there we go. And that's really all there is to picking a spinner for a particular aircraft. There are some unique situations like scale aircraft where you can order an offset spinner that allows the blades to fold against the fuselage. Typically those instances are very rare. Most of what you're going to be doing in a typical sport or competition style electric sailplane is going to be done using what we've shown here today. Don't forget, at Esprit Model, we do have a bunch of different spinners available, as well as props in a bunch of different materials. So the Aeronaut Cam Carbon is a carbon reinforced plastic, as are the Graupner folding props. We also sell carbon molded props from Falcon and Vitaprop. All those things are available every day at esprittech.com. Again, if you have any other questions or things weren't answered for you, don't hesitate to reach out to us. I'm James, this is Ariana, and we'll see you next time.